Do you believe me? A kid's book about telling the truth. Written by Christina Falcon Maldonado. For a long while, Floky had wanted to find out whether he was capable of crossing the jungle without anybody's help. He knew that the sun could do him a lot of harm because of his fair skin. But even so, one morning he decided to try his luck. He got up from his den on tiptoes and headed off toward the great expanses near Lake Victoria. After walking for many hours, he reached an enormous savanna and celebrated by beating his chest with his fists. He had done it! The sun was shining and there were no clouds or trees to rest under. Floky started to feel his skin burning. He was itchy. He felt a little dizzy, and he began to see colored spots blending into the vultures that were flying over him. He made his way to what looked like a cavern. "I feel better here," he managed to say. When he awoke, everything was dark and silent. He could only hear the fluttering of wings around him and some cries. He felt a tickling very close to his ears. "Are they bats?" he guessed. "I hope they are vegetarians." It was now very, very late. "Grrr! I should look for an exit," he groaned as he banged his head against a rock. The cavern was full of bottles and sharp stones that were hanging from the roof. Floki remembered a saying his father had taught him: "The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Wind comes from the north and storm clouds from the south." The cavern seemed to glow suddenly with a light coming from one direction. "This way," said Floki enthusiastically. The light shone brighter and brighter. When the light was in front of Floki's eyes, he realized that it was a precious and transparent stone of light. "You will be my magic lantern," said Floki, picking it up as if it were a treasure. Once it was in his hands, the stone pointed toward the exit tunnel. When he reached the forest, Floki heard a familiar voice calling him. "The panther? How strange," he thought, as it appeared before him with a jump. "What have you got there, my friend?" the panther asked. "A stone of light," replied Floki. "Did you know that it's magic?" "If you give it to me, I'll be your guardian forever," offered the panther. "Oh no, I can't give it to you. It's my lucky stone, and I'm going home with it." "But it's just a lump of stone with a light." "But I like it," replied Floki. "Well, that's up to you then," grumbled the panther, disappearing with a jump. Then the hyena crossed his path. "Ha ha ha ha! I'll swap your lump of stone for whatever you ask," he said between laughs. "No, I like my stone. It's mine." "Well, go away then. We don't want you wandering around here." Floki felt in danger, but the worst was yet to come. Suddenly, he felt that he was being watched from the trees and being followed. Then he saw a snake in front of him. The snake asked him, "Will you give me that stone you have in your hands?" While he was speaking, the hyenas arrived and surrounded Floki. Some vampire bats were flying threateningly over his head. They all wanted to trick him to take the stone away. They made up lies to try to get him to give it to them. Floki held the stone tightly. "No!" he shouted at them. The jungle was illuminated with a light that blinded everybody. Run! Escape! This way! He heard. Floky ran and ran until he could run no more. You saved my life. Thank you. It wasn't me. It was the stone, replied the owl. The stone? Replied the gorilla, dazed. It is the stone of fire, kimberlite, a magic stone millions of years ago. It can cure illnesses and wounds, ward off nightmares, and protect those under its influence from wild beasts. It shines brightly before the truth and grows dark when somebody tells lies. We have always heard about it, but nobody has ever found it. Floki was shocked. I'd like you to meet my group, he said suddenly. Will you come? Of course, replied the owl. It's that way, Floki pointed when he saw hundreds of tiny lights. Where did you go, lad? Asked his friends and family. We were worried about you. Floki knew he had to tell the truth. I'm really sorry. I wanted to know if I could cross the jungle to the savannah on my own, replied Floki. And you have done it, said his father. I want to introduce you to the wise owl of the jungle. He saved my life, exclaimed Floki. And we have brought you a present, added Floki. Then he took out the stone. It glowed, filling the whole forest with light. Everybody listened attentively to the story about the stone and the ambush. They invited the owl to stay and live in their forest and be their advisor. It's the best present you could have given our group, said his father proudly. You nearly missed the surprise that we have prepared for you, said Floki's father. Close your eyes, said his mother. A swing! Exclaimed Floki. And it has a roof. Thank you. The end.